Welcome to this tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to use the pen tool. In this example that I have on the screen, I'm going to show you how to effectively use the pen tool to trace this character. I will include a link to this image in the description so you can download it and try it for yourself. But this tutorial can be used for any image. I just found this on Google and I'm just using it for this example. So I've got this image that I dragged into Illustrator. I'm going to lock the image by going up to Object, down to Lock, and hitting Selection. So that has locked the image. Actually, what would have been a better idea would be to slightly lower the opacity of the image so that you can see your darker lines. So I'm going to lower it to about 60%. So then when I'm going over, I can see my lines. Lock. Next, I'm going to go to the pen tool, which is over here. This is the pen tool, or P on your keyboard. So the pen tool is probably one of, if not the most important tool in Illustrator. A quick example of what it does is essentially there to draw lines like this. So if I do that, I can create a nice arcing line to outline his head. So that's me just clicking in the center of his head and dragging and then letting go. So there you can see that I just made that arc around about half of his head. Then I can do the same again down here. If I just click and drag. That doesn't have to be perfect. You can go back and fix the lines. That's off a bit at the corner, but it'll do. So there we have another line. That's a bit off, but we can fix that later. Next I'm going to do the ears, which I'm going to zoom in for doing that. So I'm going to go to here, click, drag, and you can just do this around the entire image. And I generally go around the image and then go back and edit the thickness of the lines and so on. So just do what I'm doing and try and follow along and just do around the head of the character. Then we've got the ear, final ear. Zoom in there. Right. Now that's not perfect, but now we can go back and using the smooth tool, which is here, and the anchor point tool and the add anchor point tool, we can use the smooth tool to smooth out some of the points which might be a bit jagged, like here, maybe here. Smooth these out a bit. I just like to do this to smooth out the corners. Then we can use the anchor point tool just to maybe fix some of these bends. Oh, that's not right. Like so. Just to get it to match up with the head a bit more. Like so. And the thickness of Stewie's head there is slightly bigger than what I have. So I'm just going to go up to the stroke panel and increase that, and that pretty much matches that. So again, I can move these anchor points, move this up. Now you can see that on the character, the corners are rounded, whereas on mine they're pointed. To change the corners so that they're rounded, go up to Window, down to Stroke, click this wee icon here, Show Options, and change, you'll see Corner, and change that to Round Join, and that'll make them rounded. Cap, Round Cap, will make, if I do this and draw a straight line, you can see the corners of that are square. If I click on it and do rounded cap, it will make the cap rounded. So pretty self-explanatory. So from the tools that I have just mentioned, we can go around and get this to match up with the original image a bit more, like so. I love to use the smooth tool just to go around and smooth out those edges, like so. And if for whatever reason there's an anchor point, say you need to move something but there's no wee anchor point, these wee things I'm dragging at the minute are the anchor points. Say there isn't one, you can hold down where the pen tool is. Hold down where the pen tool is, add anchor point, and you can add an anchor point wherever you want. That needs smoothed out a bit, so I'm just going to fix this by doing that, dragging that back in, messing around with the anchor points. That's that. So that's me. I've pretty much went around, fixed it up, and now it goes smoothly enough around the head. Now for this tutorial, I'm going to show you in great detail how to do the head. Then I'll speed it up and do the entire thing with color and whatnot. So next, we'll do the eyes. Now this is where people have a lot of trouble with the pen tool, is trying to do circles. Now, you can use the pen tool to do the circles, like so. You could also just create a circle, and then add the anchor points to the circle and edit it that way. It's up to you. Circles are fairly easy to do. That would be that. And I use the smooth tool to smooth out some of the sharp corners that I have there. Then just a simple straight line across here. So click here, drag, deselect that, sorry. Make sure that's deselected. Click here, drag across. Right there, that'll do. Deselect. If you want to deselect using your key commands or your keyboard shortcuts, Control Shift and A will deselect objects. Drag across. Control Shift A. Now, if the simplest way, I'm just going to drag this over to here, and Control Alt, or not Control Alt, so just Alt, just for the sake of time in this video. I'm just going to drag this over here. Pretty much identical. And just edit those points. Drag that down. Drag that down. Create the eyes. I'm doing this fairly quickly. So obviously if you were doing this for a client or whatever, you would be spending a lot more time on it. But there we have the eyes and we have the outline of the head. Next we'll do the mouth and the nose, which should be, if you've learnt a bit of paying attention, it's simply the same as what we've been doing, you know. Oops, the wrong. It's the same thing. And this is just basic pen tool, features, I guess. There's more advanced features like how to change the width of like a certain part of the stroke. Like you see the width in the mouth is different. You can, make it, wider or whatever. But I'll show that in a more advanced pen tool tutorial. This is more just a basic tutorial. Make sure that's rounded because in the original design it's rounded. Stroke. Where's my stroke panel? Rounded corners, caps. And these eyebrows are simply just straight lines. So, if you have any questions by the end of this tutorial that I went too quick or didn't explain anything properly, feel free to ask. But once you've drawn the head and the eyes, you should really have a grasp of how to draw the rest of the character. It's just going over the lines. And then once you know how to use it, you can create your own drawings, photocopy them or take a picture of them on your phone, and then go over those and create your own characters. So I'm now just going to speed this up and do the whole character colored in, and you can see what the final character would look like compared to the original. And there we have it. That is the design recreated from the image that we had earlier. it is pretty much exact. Then again, if you're doing this for a client, obviously you'd be spending a lot more time on it than the 10 minutes I spent on this. But I hope that you guys have learned how to use the pen tool. Basically, it's basically just going over lines. So if you draw a character, you just go over the lines with the pen tool. Then you can color it in like this, and that's pretty much it. If there's any questions anybody has, or if there's anything I didn't go into any great detail, please feel free to ask in the comments. And thanks for watching.